Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, I will be explaining about the third part in Model Paper 2 for Reduced Syllabus. In this part also, I will be explaining about 3 5-mark questions. The first part already I have uploaded 3 5-mark questions. This is the continuation. So before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time, or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends. Also, click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into today's video. So today's video, the first question we are going to discuss is describe the achievements of Vishnuvardhana. So the question is about the achievements of Vishnuvardhana. Vishnuvardhana. This is a 5-mark question. So as I have told in the last video, so if a question is coming about a personality, a king, the first point we have to write is about his dynasty. So he was the greatest among Hoysala kings. So Vishnuvardhana was the greatest among Hoysala kings. He was the greatest ruler of Hoysalas. He gained a lot of experience in administration. Vishnuvardhana gained a lot of experience in administration as the governor of Nanjangud province. So he was a governor of Nanjangud province, Nanjangud, and from this he gained a lot of experience in administration. He completely routed the Cholas from Gangavadi. So he was a person who made the Cholas, or he completely routed the Cholas from Gangavadi, and this happened in the Battle of Talakadu. This happened in the Battle of Talakadu, which happened in 1114 CE. Okay, so he was the greatest Hoysala king. He gained experience in administration as the governor of Nanjangud province. He completely routed the Cholas from Gangavadi in the Battle of Talakadu in 1114 CE. After that, after this achievement, he took the title Talakadu Gonda. So Vishnuvardhana took the title Talakadu Gonda after he defeated Cholas in the Battle of Talakadu Gonda. In commemoration of this victory, he built 2 temples, that is, one is Kirti Narayana temple. Kirti Narayana temple. This temple is situated at Talakadu. And again one more temple, that is Channakeshava temple. Channakeshava temple. This temple is located at Belur. So these 2 temples he constructed to commemorate the victory against the Cholas. So he took the title Talakadu Gonda, and to commemorate the victory he built Kirti Narayana temple at Talakadu and Channakeshava temple at Beluru. So all these informations about the achievements of Vishnuvardhana we get or some other information we get from the Malavalli inscription. From the Malavalli inscription, we get the information, and this inscription tells that he uprooted Cholas from Kolar also. He uprooted Cholas from Kolar. Okay, uprooted Cholas from Kolar. And later he drove the Cholas up till Kanchi. So he made the Cholas run up till Kanchi, and after that he took again the title Kanchi Gonda. Kanchi Gonda. So after the victory of Battle of Talakadu, he took the title Talakadu Gonda, and according to the Malavalli inscription, he uprooted Cholas from Kolar and made them drove the Cholas up till Kanchi, and then he took the title Kanchi Gonda. After that, he invaded Madurai and also defeated the Pandyas. So Vishnuvardhana, he invaded Madurai, and after that he defeated the Pandyas. So Cholas also defeated, he also defeated the Pandyas. In all these campaigns, Vishnuvardhana had his commander as commander was Gangaraja. So in all these campaigns, the commander of Vishnuvardhana was Gangaraja, and he played a very important role in all these campaigns. The commander of Vishnuvardhana was Gangaraja, and he attained his fame by driving away Chola out of Karnataka. Vishnuvardhana has the fame of driving away Cholas from Karnataka. Cholas from Karnataka. And he also defeated the Kongalvas. The Kongalvas were also defeated by him. So according to the Malavalli inscription, he uprooted Cholas from Kolar and drove them till Kanchi and took the title Kanchigonda. Later, he invaded Madurai and defeated the Pandyas. In all these campaigns, his commander was Gangaraja. He has the fame of driving away the Cholas from Karnataka. He also defeated Kongalvas. So these were some of the achievements of Vishnuvardhana. So we have already said that he defeated the Kongalvas. The Kongalvas were defeated by Vishnuvardhana, and after defeating the Kongalvas, the Kongalva king gave his daughter in marriage to Vishnuvardhana. Kongalva king gave his daughter in marriage to Vishnuvardhana. So this was a matrimonial alliance which started between the Kongalvas and Vishnuvardhana. The Kongalva king gave his daughter in marriage to Vishnuvardhana. Vishnuvardhana tried to overthrow the overlordship of Chalukyas of Kalyana. So the next king was the Chalukyas of Kalyana, and Vishnuvardhana tried to overthrow the overlordship of Chalukyas of Kalyana. Chalukyas of Kalyana, Vishnuvardhana tried to overthrow, but he was defeated by Vikramaditya VI. So here in this time Vishnuvardhana was defeated by Vikramaditya VI. So when he tried to overthrow the overlordship of Chalukyas of Kalyana, he was defeated by Vikramaditya VI, and this happened in 1118 CE. And the battle was called as the Battle of Kannegala. The Battle of Kannegala. So in the Battle of Kannegala, Vishnuvardhana was defeated by Vikramaditya VI, and this happened in 1118 CE. Now after the death of Vikramaditya VI, after his death, Vishnuvardhana again came to power, Vishnuvardhana again he invaded up to river Tungabhadra in the north. Invaded up to river Tungabhadra in the north. So till the death of Vikramaditya VI, Vishnuvardhana was not able to do anything. After the death of Vikramaditya VI, Vishnuvardhana invaded up to Tungabhadra in the north, and in 1140 CE he won over Hanagal, Bankapura and Banavasi. So after the death of Vikramaditya VI, again Vishnuvardhana started his conquest. He invaded up to Tungabhadra in the north. In 1140 CE, he won over Hanagal, Bankapura and Banavasi. So Vishnuvardhana again continued his conquest after the death of Vikramaditya VI. Finally, in 1142 CE, he won over Lakundi. And he died in 1152 CE. Vishnuvardhana died, and the main titles of Vishnuvardhana, already we have learned two titles. One is Talakadugonda, then we have learned the title Kanchigonda, and again one more title is Mahamandaleshwara. Mahamandaleshwara. So all these are the titles of Vishnuvardhana. So in 1142 CE he won over Lakundi, 1152 CE he died, and his titles were Talakadugunda, Kanchigunda, Mahamandaleshwara, etc. So all these were the main achievements of Vishnuvardhana. So now let us see the points once more. Describe the achievements of Vishnuvardhana. He was the greatest among Hoysala kings. He gained a lot of experience in administration as the governor of Nanjangud province. He completely routed the Cholas from Gangavadi in the Battle of Talakadu in 1114 CE. After that, he took the title Talakadu. In commemoration of this victory, he built the Kirti Narayana temple at Talakadu and Channakeshava temple at Belur. The Malavalli inscription tells us that he uprooted the Chola from Kolar. Later, he drove the Cholas up to Kanchi and earned the title Kanchigunda. He invaded Madurai and defeated Pandyas. In all these campaigns of Vishnuvardhana, his commander Gangaraja played an important role. He attained fame by driving away Chola out of Karnataka. He also defeated Kongalvas. The Kongalva king gave his daughter in marriage to Vishnuvardhana. Vishnuvardhana tried to overthrow the overlordship of Chalukyas of Kalyana. He was defeated by Vikramaditya VI in 1118 CE in the Battle of Kannegala. After the death of Vikramaditya VI, Vishnuvardhana invaded up to river Tungabhadra in the north. In 1140 CE, he won over Hanagar, Bankapura and Banavasi. In 1142 CE, he won over Lakundi. He died in 1152 CE. The main titles of Vishnuvardhana are Mahamandaleshwara, Talakadugunda, etc. Now let us move on to the next 5-mark question, that is, describe the religious and Rajput policy of Akbar. Religious and Rajput policy of Akbar. So this is the next 5-mark question. So this question has two parts. One is religious policy and next is Rajput policy. So first let us see the Rajput policy of Akbar. Rajput policy. Rajputs were powerful enemies of the Mughals. So Rajputs were basically enemies of Mughals, and they were powerful enemies of the Mughals. So because of this, Akbar, he tried to gain the support of Rajputs by adopting many measures. He adopted many measures to attain their support. One is friendly relation. He tried cooperation with them. He also tried matrimonial alliances with Rajputs, matrimonial alliances. So all these methods Akbar tried to gain the support of Rajputs, because he knew that they were very powerful. He wanted to gain their support, and for that he tried friendly relation, cooperation, matrimonial alliances, etc. Regarding matrimonial alliance, Akbar married Jodhabai. Jodhabai was married by Akbar, and Akbar married Jodhabai, who was the daughter of Bihari Mal of Ambar. This was a part of the matrimonial alliance. So Rajput policy of Akbar, Rajputs were powerful enemies of the Mughals. Akbar wanted to get their support, and he attempted friendly relation, cooperation and matrimonial alliance. He married Jodhabai, who was the daughter of Bihari Mal of Ambar. Now again, Raja Surjan Rai, he was of Ranathambore. He voluntarily accepted the overlordship of Akbar. Now regarding the Rajputs, one by one we will see. Raja Surjan Rai, he voluntarily accepted the overlordship of Akbar. Again, then one more ruler, that is Ramachandra. He was a ruler of Kalinjar, also surrendered to Akbar. He also surrendered. So Raja Surjan Rai of Ranthambore accepted the overlordship of Akbar. Voluntarily he accepted. Then Ramachandra, the ruler of Kalinjar, he also surrendered to Akbar. Then next was the rulers of Jodhpur and Bikaner. Jodhpur rulers and the rulers of Bikaner, they also accepted the sovereignty of Akbar. They also accepted the power of Akbar. So now we can see ruler of Ranthambore, ruler of Kalinjar, ruler of Jodhpur and ruler of Bikaner all accepted the sovereignty of Akbar. The only Rajput state which refused to accept Akbar, the only Rajput state which refused to accept Akbar's overlordship was Mewar. Okay, so Mewar refused to accept the overlordship of Akbar. So what happened? The capital of Mewar, Mewar capital was Chittur. This capital was captured by Akbar. This capital was captured by Akbar. So as already I have told, Mewar was the only Rajput state which did not accept the power of Akbar. The capital of Mewar, that is Chittur, this was captured by Akbar, and this was captured by Akbar by defeating, Akbar defeated Uday Singh, who was the ruler of Mewar that time. Uday Singh was defeated by Akbar and he captured Chittur, which was the capital of Mewar, because Mewar was the only place which did not accept the overlordship. So now Uday Singh was, as I have already told you, Uday Singh was defeated by Akbar and Akbar captured Chittur, the capital of Mewar. Now Uday Singh, he continued to fight. So Uday Singh continued to fight against Mughals, continued his fight against the Mughals, and after him his son, that is Uday Singh's son, Rana Pratap Singh, also continued to fight after the death of his father. Rana Pratap Singh also continued the fight against Mughals after the death of his father. So Uday Singh was defeated by Akbar, even then he continued his fight against the Mughals. After him his son Rana Pratap Singh continued to fight against Mughals after the death of his father. There was a famous battle, the Battle of Haldighat, which happened in 1576 CE. This battle was fought between Mughals and Rajputs. This was a very famous battle fought between Mughals and the Rajputs. And Rana Pratap Singh, he suffered heavy losses. Rana Pratap Singh was a ruler during that time. Rana Pratap Singh suffered heavy losses in the battle, and Mewar was completely occupied by Akbar. Finally, Mewar was completely occupied by Akbar. So, in the Battle of Haldighat, 1576 CE, Mughals and Rajputs fought against each other. Rana Pratap Singh suffered heavy losses, and finally, Mewar was completely occupied by Akbar. So after that, after Mewar was completely occupied by Akbar, Rajput kings were allowed to return their internal autonomy. Okay, the Rajput kings were allowed to retain their internal autonomy. And Akbar actually had many Rajput commanders. Akbar's Rajput commanders, some of Akbar's Rajput commanders, one was Raja Todarmal, very famous, Todarmal, and another one Raja Man Singh, etc. So he had many Rajput commanders, some examples, Raja Todarmal, Raja Man Singh, etc. So this much was the Rajput policy of Akbar. So the question I have told you is in two parts. One is Rajput policy and one is religious policy. So next let us see the religious policy of Akbar. Religious policy. Regarding the religious policy, Akbar was one of the most enlightened and liberal monarchs of India. So Akbar was a very enlightened and liberal monarchs of India, liberal monarchs of India. Okay, Akbar was one of the enlightened and liberal monarchs of medieval India, and Akbar abolished pilgrimage tax. He abolished pilgrimage tax. What was pilgrimage tax? This was a tax which all the Hindu pilgrims had to pay. Okay, so that was abolished by Akbar, and he also abolished jizya. Jizya was a tax which non-Muslims had to pay. So both these taxes were abolished by Akbar. He abolished pilgrimage tax and jizya. And he also appointed Hindus in high posts in his administration. He gave high post in administration to the Hindus, and also he took part in the Hindu celebrations, took part in the celebration of Hindus. So that is why he is called as a very liberal monarch. He abolished pilgrimage tax, jizya. He appointed Hindus in high posts and took part in their celebration. The next thing was he prohibited many evil practices like child marriage. Child marriage was prohibited by him. He prohibited sati, and he encouraged widow remarriage also. Encouraged widow remarriage. Okay, so he was enlightened and liberal monarch. He abolished pilgrimage tax and jizya. He appointed Hindus in high post and took part in their celebration. He prohibited child marriage and sati, and he encouraged widow remarriage. So like that, many good things were done by Akbar. And people were allowed to build places of worship without restrictions. So people were allowed, people from other religion can build their places of worship without any restriction. He allowed them to build places of worship without any restriction. And he was famous for his new religion. He founded a new religion. The religion was based on the principle of peace for all. His new religion was based on peace for all. It is called as Din-e-Ilahi. The new religion of Akbar was called as Din-e-Ilahi. He also constructed Ibadat Khana. This Ibadat Khana was constructed at Fatehpur Sikri, and it was constructed for the purpose of holding religious discussions. Many religious discussions from people from all religions came and discussed about their own religion in the Ibadat Khana. And he did not force anyone to join his new religion, but the thing is that after his death it lost his importance. So he did not force anyone to join the new religion, but after his death it did not have any importance. So he allowed people to build places of worship without restrictions, and he made a new religion based on peace for all. It is called as Din-e-Ilahi. He built the Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri for religious discussions, and he did not force anyone to join the new religion, but it lost its importance after his death. So this much is about the religious and Rajput policy of Akbar. So let us see. Describe the religious and Rajput policy of Akbar. Rajput policy. Rajput were powerful enemies of Mughals. Akbar tried to gain the support of Rajput by adopting measures like friendly relation, cooperation, matrimonial alliances, etc. Akbar married Jodhabai, the daughter of Bihari Mal of Ambar. Raja Surjan Rai of Ranthambore voluntarily accepted the overlordship of Akbar. Ramachandra, the ruler of Kalinjar, surrendered to Akbar. The rulers of Jodhpur and Bikaner also accepted the sovereignty of Akbar. The only Rajput state which refused to accept Akbar's overlordship was Mewar. The capital of Mewar, Chittur, was captured by Akbar by defeating Uday Singh in 1568 CE. Uday Singh continued to fight against Mughals, and his son Rana Pratap Singh also continued to fight after the death of his father. The Battle of Haldigarh 1576 CE was fought between the Mughals and Rajputs. Rana Pratap Singh suffered heavy losses, and Mewar was completely occupied by Akbar. Rajput kings were allowed to retain their internal autonomy. Akbar had many Rajput commanders like Raja Todarmal, Raja Man Singh, etc. Now his religious policy. Akbar was one of the most enlightened and liberal monarchs of medieval India. He abolished the pilgrimage tax that all Hindu pilgrims had to pay, and also abolished the jizya. Hindus were appointed to high posts and he took part in their celebrations. He prohibited child marriage and sati and encouraged widow remarriage. People were allowed to build places of worship without restrictions. He founded a new religion based on the principle of peace for all, Dini-Ilahi. He built the Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri to hold religious discussions. He did not force anybody to follow his new religion, but it lost its importance after his death. So this much is the second question. Now let us move on to the last question in this video, that is, explain the life and teaching of Shankaracharya. Life and teaching of Shankaracharya. So this question also is in two parts, that is life and then there is teachings. So first let us see about the life of Shankaracharya. He was born at Kaladi in Kerala. Shankaracharya was born at a place called as Kaladi in Kerala, and his parents, the parents of Shankaracharya, were Shivaguru and Aryamba. Parents were Shivaguru and Aryamba. So from the beginning, from childhood, he was not interested in worldly life. He was not interested in worldly life, and he became a sannyasi with the permission of his mother. So he was not interested in worldly life and he wanted to become a sannyasi. So he went and became a sannyasi with the permission of his mother. His teacher was Govinda and he met his teacher on the banks of river Narmada. Okay, on the banks of river Narmada, Shankaracharya met his teacher Govinda, and Shankaracharya travelled all over India and he visited many places like Kashmir, Banaras, Kashi, etc. All over India he travelled and he visited many places. And his philosophy is called as the Advaita Philosophy. The philosophy of Shankaracharya is called as the Advaita Philosophy. So Shankaracharya was born at Kaladi in Kerala. His parents were Shivaguru and Aryamba. From childhood he was not interested in worldly life and he became a sannyasi with the permission of his mother. He met his teacher Govinda on the banks of river Narmada. He travelled all over India and visited places like Kashmir, Banaras, Kanchi, etc. And his philosophy was called as Advaita Philosophy. Now, Shankaracharya had different titles. He had titles like the first title is he was called as Sarvatnya and Jagadguru. Another title was Jagadguru. He had titles like Sarvatnya and Jagadguru. Shankaracharya established many mutts. Many mutts were established by Shankaracharya, and some of the important mutts established by him, one is Govardhana Pitha. This is at Puri. Then Kalika Mata at Dwaraka. Another one is Jyotirmata at Badrinath. Then Sharda Pitha at Sringeri. So these were the important mattas established by Shankaracharya. So Shankaracharya established many mutts. Some of them are Govardhana Pitha at Puri, Kalika Mata at Dwaraka, Jyotirmata Badrinath, Sharda Pitha at Sringeri. All these were the important mattas established by him. Now Shankaracharya attempted to unify different cults. He attempted to unify different cults, and this he did by giving importance to the worship of some gods, worship of Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Ganesha, Kumara and Shakti. So this was what Shankaracharya did. He tried to unify the worship of different cults by giving importance to worship of Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Ganesha, Kumara and Shakti. And this was the giving importance to these 6 gods worship. Okay, here 6 gods is Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Ganesha, Kumara and Shakti. This giving importance to the worship of these 6 different gods, this was called as the Shanmata Sthapanacharya. Shanmata Sthapanacharya. That is worship of unifying different cults by giving importance to the worship of 6 different gods. That is, Shan means 6. So he was called as Shanmata Sthapanacharya. Now Shankaracharya, he wrote commentaries. Shankaracharya, he wrote commentaries on Brahma Sutra and Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad. Brahma Sutra, again he wrote commentaries on Upanishads and also Bhagavad Gita. So Shankaracharya, he wrote commentaries on Brahma Sutra, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. Other than this, he wrote many important works. One is Viveka Chudamani, Shivananda Lahari, Ananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari. All these were the important works of, or we can say other works of Shankaracharya. So he wrote, so he tried to unify 6 different cults and he is called as Shanmata Sthapanacharya. He wrote commentaries on Brahma Sutra, Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. Other works were Viveka Chudamani, Shivananda Lahari, Ananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari, etc. And Shankaracharya died at a very young age of 32. So this much we learn about the life of Shankaracharya. Next we move on to the next part of the same answer, that is teachings. So we learn about his philosophy here, that is Advaita Philosophy. Advaita Philosophy. Advaita, the meaning of the word Advaita is monoism or non-duality. Non-duality which is not two, that is one. Monoism, one. So his philosophy is monoism or non-duality. According to him, Brahma, or we can say God, is the ultimate truth. Ultimate truth. According to Advaita philosophy, the only truth or the ultimate truth is Brahma. The God or Brahma is Nirguna, Nirakara and Swaprakashaka. According to him, God is Nirguna, that is not ascribed to any particular quality. No particular quality. Not ascribed to any particular, we cannot say any particular quality to God, that is Nirguna. Then we can say Nirakara. God does not have any form or shape, formless. Okay. And Swaprakashaka, that is self-evident. Okay, enlightened, self-evident, that is Swaprakash, which gives, which emits its own light, that is self-evident. So, according to him, Brahma or God is Nirguna, Nirakara and Swaprakashaka, and God is the ultimate truth. So, that was the belief of Shankaracharya, that was his philosophy. He did not give any importance. There was no importance to the existing world. He did not give any importance to the existing world. But what he gave importance was for spiritual world. Shankaracharya gave importance to the spiritual world. He did not give any importance to the existing world. And according to him, he said that the world is Maya or an illusion. World is Maya or illusion, that is which is not true. Okay, world is Maya or illusion. And he said that individual soul and the supreme soul are the one and same. According to him, the individual soul or Atma and the supreme soul, that is God or Brahma, is the same. And for that he said that Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi, that means I am Brahma. So that is what he meant. Individual soul and supreme soul are the one and the same. That is why he said Aham Brahmasmi, that is I am Brahma. So Shankaracharya did not give any importance to the existing world. He gave importance to the spiritual world. He said that the world is Maya or illusion, and he said individual soul and the supreme soul are one and the same. And he said Aham Brahmasmi, that is I am Brahma. And he said that the ignorant individual, the individual is so ignorant that ignorant person will not recognize him inside, will not recognize him inside, and he will search for him outside. That is, God is basically inside all of us, but we are so ignorant that we will not recognize God is inside, and we will search around outside to find God. That is what was said by Shankaracharya. So the ignorant individual will not recognize him inside, that is, will not recognize God is inside every human being, but will search for God outside. So that was the basic teaching or Advaita philosophy of Shankaracharya. And he said that to understand all these things, what is essential? Jnana is essential to recognize the truth, to recognize that God is inside everyone. We need jnana. Jnana means basically knowledge. Knowledge is essential to recognize this truth, and finally if someone recognizes the truth, it will lead to salvation, salvation or moksha. If an individual recognizes the truth, finally it will lead to salvation. So this was the Advaita philosophy of Shankaracharya. So this is the life and teaching of Shankaracharya. So let us see the points. Explain the life and teaching of Shankaracharya. Life: he was born at Kaladi in Kerala. His parents were Shivaguru and Aryamba. He was not interested in worldly life and became a sannyasi with the permission of his mother. He met his teacher Govinda on the bank of the river Narmada. He travelled all over India and visited Kashmir, Banaras, Kanchi, etc. He propounded Advaita philosophy. He had titles like Sarvajna and Jagadguru. He established many mutts, and important among them are Govardhana Pita at Puri, Kalika Mata at Dwaraka, Jyotir Mata at Badrinath, Sharada Pita at Sringeri. He attempted to unify different cults by giving importance to the worship of Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Ganesha, Kumara and Shakti. He is called as Shanmata Sthapanacharya. He wrote commentaries on Brahma Sutra, Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. Viveka Chodamani, Shivananda Lahiri, Ananda Lahiri, Saundarya Lahiri, etc. were his other works. He died at a young age of 32. Advaita philosophy. Advaita means monoism or non-duality. According to him, Brahma, God, is the ultimate truth. He is Nirguna, Nirakara and Swaprakashaka. He did not give any importance to the existing world but gave importance to the spiritual world. He called the world Maya or illusion. He said that the individual soul and the supreme soul are one and the same. Shankara said, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. The ignorant individual soul will not recognize him inside but will search for him outside. Jnana is essential to recognize this truth, which will ultimately lead to salvation. So these are the 3 5-mark questions. Now we have 2 more 5-mark questions in this second model paper that I will be explaining in the next video. After that, we will move on to the 10-mark questions. So I hope you have understood all these question and answers very clearly. If you have any doubts regarding this, or if you have any video recommendations, you can freely ask in the comment section. And also don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes, shares and comments will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the next video. Thank you for watching.